company coming this weekend, and one of my favorite things to serve my friends is homemade corn chips. Sure, you can buy them at the store and they're very delicious. Who doesn't like a nice Frito? But I don't like all the additives and I don't like the preservatives. So instead what I like to do is I actually freeze corn in the summertime when I can get it at the farmer's market. So this is really fresh corn. And so I have 2.5 cups of corn that I'm adding to my food processor. And because I make my own almond milk, I always have almond pulp around. You could do this with either almond flour or almond pulp, but I happen to have just made some almond milk and I have this fresh pulp, and rather than freeze it or dehydrate it, I'm just going to use it up right away. To that I am also adding about a tablespoon of olive oil. Sometimes I use avocado oil, sometimes I use grapeseed oil. This is what I happen to have in my hand right now, so that's what I'm using. This is going into the food processor for a minute just to blend. Or 2 minutes to push it down also. And then blend. About it. And now this is going to get spread on a dehydrating tray. You could bake it in the oven at a very low temperature, but then you have to keep an eye on it. I much prefer to use the dehydrator. It's funny, the flavor's a little different, and I like the flavor of it baked in the oven, but I like not watching it. So the dehydrator keeps it raw, and that keeps all the enzymes active in the corn, and there's a lot of benefit to that. So this is about done. I'm going to show you a trick for rolling your chips and crackers out so they're uniform. I want to spread that out a little bit first. And I have a piece of parchment paper here. You could use parchment paper or wax paper. If I tried to roll it out with just the rolling pin, this would be very messy. It would stick. And press that out a little bit. And I'm going to roll it. Take it right out to the edge. And you can see through the parchment paper that it's going past. I love making my own crackers. They're fresh, and I know exactly what's in them. I don't tend to have a lot of wheat in my diet. My cousin was diagnosed with celiac disease, and I don't know that I have it, but I do find that I feel better when I don't eat it. The wheat we eat these days is really not the wheat that our ancestors evolved with. Within the last 50 years or so, it's been hybridized to make it very shelf stable, but at the same time, what makes it shelf stable makes it really hard to digest. So it's not at all unusual for people to develop problems with their digestive system as a result of eating a lot of wheat. Oops. I get too rough with it sometimes. What's nice about this is the corn really makes it crispy once all the moisture's been removed. And I'm going to sprinkle it with a little bit of smoked chili powder. And a little bit of salt. I'm going to spread that out a little bit because otherwise some of these bites are going to be really powerful. And I always score it before I put it into the dehydrator so it snaps easily. This one's a little bit messy because of the corn. I make crackers out of beets, carrots, celery. Those are the ones I usually use. And those are really good. I've done spinach. That was a little strange. My family is always my test kitchen, and when I say to my husband, "Oh, you want to try this before I bring it out to the compost?" He says, "You know, that really doesn't make it sound appealing." I'm very intrigued when somebody says something like that to me. How bad could it be? Let me see. Let me smell that. Let me take a look at that. There. It looks a little bit messy, but it is going to be delicious. And we won't get to try it until tomorrow because it's going to dehydrate overnight. So tomorrow morning we'll take another look at this. Okay, just pulled the corn chips out of the dehydrator. And they look perfect. They're curled up around the edges, which is just what we want. We want to make sure they're nice and dry. Ah, satisfying crispy sound. Perfect. These are going to go great with my taco party on Saturday night.